Recently, we had a lovely message of one of our viewers asking us if we knew anything about Xanthoxylum armatum. And the answer to that was no. So, this is an oil that is also known as Sichuan pepper or Tomar seed or prickly ash essential oil. And I want to say a massive thanks to Matthew Sulpizzi for sending both Adam and I this oil for us to look at because I think it's really quite exciting. First sent it to you, Adam, and then you sent it on to me. What did you think of it when you opened it?
I must admit that xanthophyllum isn't something that I'm brand new to. I find that it appears in a few doTERRA blends, but there are many different species of xanthophyllum as well. But this is probably my first opportunity, thanks to Matthew, to actually sit with the oil as a single oil and really kind of work with it. And I found it really interesting. How would we describe the aroma? It's a light peppery kind of aroma, I guess you would say. It definitely doesn't kick the back of the throat like something like black pepper or maybe Australian native pepper does. I guess probably if I had to parallel it to another aroma, maybe it's very similar to pink pepper. And the fact that it comes, often from red type berries, I guess it would kind of make a bit of sense. What about for yourself?
Yeah, it's called Szechuan pepper, but it isn't really a pepper, is it? It's from the Rutaceae. How do you say it? Rutaceae. Well, the orange. It's a fruit, isn't it? It's a citrus berry. And so that's what I can smell. I can't smell any pepper at all. It's kind of orangey. It kind of reminds me a little bit of petitgrain. I think it's really beautiful. It's really quite pungent and bright and a shiny, shiny oil. And as things always go in the way that Adam and I always prepare things and then I don't do what I'm supposed to do. Adam very kindly popped the essential oil in, which I have to say, Matthew, you wrapped it so beautifully. Look, a little message saying essential oil for Elizabeth. And then I was going, well, I can't get this open. I can't get this open. And it was so carefully taped with lovely black tape, so it was nice and safe. So then I completely missed all the paperwork that Adam put in. So I did my research off Tisserand and Young safety manual. And what's interesting is we can imagine that that would be a really sort of generic version of what the chemistry might look like. But now I know what's in the GCMS. Actually, it bears no resemblance to the essential oil that we've got. So let me tell you what Tisserand and Young list it as, first of all, that it would be 72% linalool, 12.2% methyl cinnamate, 6.2% limonene, and 5.3% beta-phellandrene. And actually, even his is from old data. He has quoted Shah 1991, and that's from Tisserand and Young 2014. So that is really different to the GCMS of what we've got actually got. Is that right?
Yeah, very much. Our key chemistry here is you've got about 24% D-limonene, 14% beta-phellandrene, only 40% linalool in this one compared to the higher one in there that you mentioned before. And the methyl cinnamate is at 8.5% as well.
Yeah. So regardless, anything with linalool that high is going to be incredibly relaxing, antidepressant, but also very good for pain. And straight away, I just thought, oh, I just feel like I'm tripping. It's really, really soothing and dreamy and very, very uplifting essential oil. I like it a lot. What I also noticed when I was looking at the safety around it, looking at different things that other people had written, I was surprised how many places you could get it from. Actually, it had passed me by completely until Matthew had sort of highlighted it to me. What I could see was there was so much difference of opinion about what the safety should be. So some people had said, well, you can't use this in pregnancy. Some people had said not safe around pets. Other people had said not safe around children. So I went really closely through the chemistry. And I have to say, I think that what Tisserand and Young have written, it seems plausible to me that it would be safe in pregnancy. I can't see any reason why it wouldn't be safe around pets. It's not high in phenols, which are usually the problem with cats. It is a citrus oil, so it's usually citruses that are the problem, but the the lemonene's not really off the chart like levels like grapefruit. So I don't think there would be a problem diffusing it as long as you left the door open for a cat. And I can't see any reason why it wouldn't be safe to use on children. I always say it's best not to use on any oils on children sort of younger than 6 months. It's quite sharp, you know. It's got quite a lot of limonene in, so you would want to make sure it was really well diluted if you were going to use it for a child. But I can't really see a reason why you would want to use it on a child, to be honest. I think its main skills will be digestive, and so I can think of lots of other gentler oils that I would use on a child instead. So yeah, I think it's strange how you can see all of these different things. It's quite high in methyl cinnamate, but methyl cinnamate is an ester, so again, it's not going to be anything that would cause any problems. And it's obviously the methyl cinnamate because esters give fruity smells. That's what you can smell. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, from what I understand, this is in Ayurvedic medicine, this is used a lot for getting things moving in the body. So I think normally where I'd reach for cardamom for helping with, like you said, the digestive, any kind of digestive, if things just aren't moving enough, massaging this over the belly would be really nice. Any kind of congestion in the respiratory system could be really nice with a bit of a chest rub in that way. But also just in massage mediums, like I think you're really loving the aroma of it and toying around with helping for circulation, but also those aches and pains. It could be a really nice one to toy with, some kind of massage blend where you could work this in and it might work some wonders as well.
Yeah, so Tomar seeds, which is obviously what it comes from, are little aromatic seeds, and they're used a lot in Ayurvedic medicine, specifically for balancing Vata and Kapha and kind of the axis that goes between them. So let's think about that first of all. So Kapha is the easiest to be able to imagine. It's considered to be the combination of earth and water. Well, that's easy to work out. We've all been kids and we've all made mud pies and how sticky things become and how heavy and claggy. So that is, if you've got an excess of Vata, that's an excess of Kapha, that's what you're going to see. You're going to see things that have become heavy, stodgy, plodding, sticky. So things like catarrh, phlegm, slow digestion, diabetes is the definite one. Obesity, but then also sluggish, lymphatic drainage. So things like cellulite, also poor circulation in the limbs. All of those things are thought to be derived from an excess of Kapha. So any kind of that sluggish, thick environment, this is going to be great for, because it's going to go, oh, smash it. And you can smell, it is like a pitta smell. It is quite hot. You can smell the heat in it, and you can smell that it smells like busy and fast and fizzy. It's got activity in it. And in the same way, it said that it would balance Vata, and Vata tends to be cold, brittle, flaking. So you'll see cold in the limbs, very dry, flaky skin, nebulous thinking, so dreaminess or not very groundedness, not being able to concentrate. See a lot of people with things like ADHD tend to have an excess of Vata energy. So all of these things that are useful, and what I saw on a lot of sites when I was looking at the medicine, for the Ayurvedic medicine, a lot of them had said that there was lots of stories of people successfully using it or working with the Tomar seeds for people who had anorexia because it stimulated their appetite. And yes, so any kind of sluggish digestion, indigestion, stomach aches, bloating, rheumatism, anything where it just doesn't feel like energy is flowing very well, they all seem to be like that. And likewise, if you get a thick chesty cough, snotty nose, and it does have that lovely warming nature as well. So a bit like ginger, I guess. It's similar kinds of properties to ginger, really.
One really beautiful trio that Matthew did share with us as well for sore throats would be mixing this Xanthoxylum with Australian blue cypress, which we've been talking a lot about recently. I think we might have to do a spotlight on that soon as well. And a bit of black pepper. And that being really good for sore throats. Some people have had success with that. So that could be a combo to try as well.
Yeah, and I've only had it a couple of days because it came when I was going away, so I wasn't here to have a try. But I suffer from quite restless legs and restless and sort of leg cramps. And I'd seen in the literature, I thought, right, I'll give it a go. And yeah, it just soothed my legs down so quickly. They became all lovely and warm and relaxed. All the muscles felt like they were freeing up. So I think anybody who's got these kind of, if you've gone through a lot of tension, stress can really make muscles go really, really rigid and stiff. And so it can be hard to get them to relax in massage. But if oils that sort of work on temperature, without getting too technical, they also work on a pain receptor called TRPV1 and TRPM8. So TRPM8 is the cold receptor and TRPV1 is the hot receptor. Now, I haven't looked to see if there's evidence for that, but straight away it felt like it did the same sort of thing as when you use cinnamon or those kind of warming oils where your pain suddenly went, oh, yeah, I like it.
I'm
I like it
Elizabeth
a lot.
Ashley, UK Director for the National Association of Holistic Aromatherapy and founder of the Aromatic Mystery School, where essential oils meet the deeper, more mystical side of healing. Here you'll explore the spiritual, emotional and energetic dimensions of plants and learn how to weave them into your own rituals and well-being practices. If you're ready to work in a way that nourishes both your soul and your senses, join us at the Aromatic Mystery School. The link's right below.
So let's take a bit of a dive into the deeper and the holistic uses of this essential oil. As you said, you've been working with it for a few days. The impressions of the energy, what have you received about Xanthoxylum and this Tamar seed in particular?
Well, I tried to cheat a bit and have a look to see if there was any mythology around the Tomar seed. And there wasn't. It's not really including any myths that I found, which was quite disappointing to me. But I think the way that it's like a whoosh of wind, like a cleansing wind that comes through a hot energy. I think, if somebody is feeling very sluggish or life's feeling a bit boring and rigid, I just think it's a really unusual oil to bring in a different energy, an exciting energy into your life.
I love that you use that analogy of a hot wind as opposed to fire. I do find it's definitely a yang oil. It's got some kind of fire to it, but I don't think it's as aggressive as some of our other oils would be. And I think it helps us to get momentum. It helps us to get moving, but not in a way that we kind of go over the top and where we kind of expel all of our energy. I think it really helps to kind of almost like warm us up to a bubbling temperature, almost like a simmer, and allow us to get things going and going at a good pace, but also a pace that we can maintain. And I think in this day and age, this is going to be really important because we often tend to go from extreme go, 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 go to exhaustion. And we rely on different stimulants, whether it be caffeine or sugar or something to rev us up. But I'm always reminded when we use these different stimulants, when we use them, we're borrowing from later on and we're going to pay the price for that. I think this oil could be a really great one to work with to help us just find the energy within ourselves and find a sustainable, motivating, ongoing action yang energy where we're just operating without draining ourselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does completely. And to me, it feels like it would be lovely for, when you've done Christmas and then you've done Boxing Day, 27th, and by then you're like, I'm really over this now. And I've eaten too much chocolate and I feel really rubbish and I've lost all sense of what day it is. And that kind of like, I'm lost and overfull and exhausted. Think it would be a really like, right, so let's sort out your digestion and let's let you get you going again. It's lovely, but like you say, it's kind of almost like a holiday energy. It's not like, to me, it doesn't feel like let's go to work. It's like let's just really kind of relax into and be excited. I really like it. I think it's a really nice oil.
More as we're talking about it, I'm thinking about even for myself as well. I'm someone who's prone to working a lot, working a bit more, and then burning myself out. And I think this could be a really good oil for people that do tend to go up and down to work out, okay, well, where's that happy medium? How can I bubble along but make sure that I've got enough time where I'm not going to exhaust myself as well? So, as we approach the holiday season, it could be a really good one for people to lean into to go, well, how much am I capable of and what's sustainable and what's enough without me totally, debilitating myself and exhausting myself and ending up in a heap. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, completely. I'm trying to think about, does it give me any sort of memories of having smelt Sichuan pepper in cookery or anything like that? But it doesn't really. It doesn't really take me to any sort of location in my head, if that makes sense. I just think it's just a very nice, happy, playful energy. I think it's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah. So thinking about chakras, what chakra do you feel that this oil would be really good for working with?
So I did find quite a lot of written stuff that in Ayurveda they say solar plexus, and that is where I felt it, like that huge, great big sunshine energy. Did you see anything different to that?
I actually place the Xanthoxylums. It could be because most of them are red berries with the base chakra, but I do find them of being that really great for keeping harmony in that base chakra for exactly what I was talking about before. It brings up that strength and that ability to look after ourselves and feel grounded and steady without overdoing it. Because if we overdo it, we kind of run off the other way. So I find it quite harmonizing for the base chakra. So I tend to use it for that energy center.
Yeah. Did you do any medical astrology around it?
Not medical astrology is your thing, but I do have some astrological hints. Yeah, but talk to me about the medical astrology.
Tell me about that. I was a bit lazy and I didn't do that. So tell me what your thoughts were.
So first of all, we could start off with a bit of basic astrology, and I would really, with the base chakra and its energizing properties, I would put it with Mars. Again, Mars is about motivation, and I think there are, we can't just say that all Mars oils are go, 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 like ginger or ginseng. I think sometimes we need to work with Mars energy and work out how to motivate in a more steady and sustainable way. And possibly, oils like the Sichuan pepper, which aren't so well known previously, maybe they're coming into their day and age now, could be a really good one at helping us to work out how to do things more sustainably rather than just exhausting ourselves in that way. But if we want to go above that, we've been talking about our dwarf planets in our recent episodes, and one that we haven't explored yet is Varuna. Now, Varuna is very much about leadership and empowerment, but doing it in a kind and gentle and considerate way. And I feel that this possibly, not only is Varuna, from the same region of the world as the Sichuan pepper oil is, but I feel this could be a really beautiful one for helping to bring that. How can I influence the world? How can I lead? How can I make a difference without that bullish nature? Do you know what I mean? Varuna is very fair in the way that the dwarf planet plays out in our astrology and as it transits around and orbits around the sun and in our solar system. So I'd even propose that this could be a really great oil for Varuna.
Interesting. So I had felt that it resonated really nicely with the energy of the asteroid Vesta. So Vesta is the sacred fire, and Vesta was both the sacred fire, but she was also the goddess. And the priestesses who tended to her were the Vestal virgins. And they served for 30 years to tend this sacred hearth, this sacred flame that had to blaze continuously. And what's interesting is quite often you'll see stories about how Rome burned in Nero's rule, for example. And immediately I started thinking, well, I wonder what happened to the hearth. Was the hearth blazing more, or are the times when you really weren't? It was on fear of death that you let the hearth burn out. But there must have been a way to be able to keep it burning on a steady flame. So that feels like this kind of energy to me, that there is just the right amount of fire, if that's a thing. And if that were true, then Vesta is about how one turns up in sacredness in one's life. How does one serve? And also sacred sexuality from the point of view of is one celibate, or how does one express oneself through sexuality. Next year, I'm going to be really studying hard on Vesta. That's one of my New Year's plans, to really go deep. So this is an oil that I had chosen to study alongside Vesta, to see if I could get more information that way. Yeah, and so this idea from what you said about leadership, one of the questions I am often asking myself, we're definitely seeing the rebirth of the archetype of the priestess coming back. You see it a lot, but the priestess seems to have a very different meaning to the priestesses that I studied. I think actually what we're seeing is the rebirth of the mystic, and people sort of embodying that goddess energy. And certainly the priestesses of old did that, but their job was to serve, and you don't really see that like in the modern archetype at all. So I think that the Vesta energy as how does one serve is really interesting. So the fact that you said how does one lead, because they were the heads of the community, that kind of does sort of mesh with what you said about the Varuna energy. But of course it is fire, but as you quite rightly say, the Mars energy is like a volcanic fire. It's like a fireball coming at you. But we both said we don't really feel that that's the case. It's more of a smouldering one. So I thought it was really quite interesting how you can almost put them like jigsaw pieces. So if it's not that, then does it that? And I'd already thought Vesta. So interesting.
I love that. Now, as you did mention, that Vesta is associated a little bit with sexuality and that internal fire as well. Is this an oil for the bedroom, do you think?
I do think that it could definitely go into some blends for libido. It does have that sense of like, come on, let's have a bit of a spark. I do think it has that, yeah. Maximum dilution is hard to say, but as I say, it is written in Tisserand and Young, and they haven't written any sort of safety restrictions on it. So I would say maximum dilution 3%, and that seems a lot for that. And it would go beautifully with something like nutmeg for a really like sensual, masculine blend. Beautiful, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It does feel more masculine than feminine, I have to say.
What was that? Sorry.
It feels more masculine than feminine.
Got you. Yeah, no, that makes sense for sure. Now, a question I haven't had a chance to ask you in a while now: does everyone need this oil?
Well, I never thought to look to see how much money it was. Did you notice whether it's an expensive oil?
No, I actually haven't looked at the price at all.
Well, I did see that the antioxidant content demonstrates 300% more free radical activity compared to black pepper essential oil. So that's very healthy, right? I think if it wasn't too expensive, I think it would be one that I would encourage people to get and have an experiment with, mainly because it's not in the textbooks. And I think we can all lean into this thing of relying on a textbook and going, well, that's what I use it for. But it's an easy oil to work with. The safety seems very straightforward to me. It's like bubbles. It's like champagne. It's such a lovely, like bright fragrance, and it does lots of things in the body. Like systemically, it works to stimulate, to warm. I think people would really like experimenting with this also. I would definitely say to people, go and get some of this. Yeah.
So, first of all, a big thank you to Matthew for pointing this out and for sending us some bottles for us to work with as well. We,
Really nice.
me and Liz, for want of a better term, are essential oil sluts, and we want to work with all the different oils and try them out. So, if there's an oil that's out there that you know of, or maybe you're even an essential oil producer, and we haven't had a chance to dive into it and unpack it on all these different levels, let us know, and we're more than happy to dive in and explore all different essential oils from around the world. I know I exposed you to a little treat of an absolute recently in Tiger Lily Absolute, Liz, didn't I?
Oh, so beautiful. It really is one of the most beautiful scents I've ever experienced. Yeah.
So we might have to dive into that as well. They do say that there is about 300 essential oils that are kind of developed commercially, and about 3,000 plants that do produce essential oils around the world. So really, we've ticked off around 105 or so now. So even in that 300, we've got a bit of work to do. So we'll be chatting for a while yet, won't we?
Yeah, for sure. I love it. I love getting a new oil to play with.
So thank you very much for everyone listening to Xanthoxylum. Go check it out, get a bottle yourself, and of course, me and Liz aren't the only ones who know things. You know things from your own experience, and we love seeing what you find from these essential oils in the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe, share this with anyone else who maybe thinks they're the essential oil expert. Maybe you can show them an oil that I haven't heard of yet as well. We'll be back next week when we dive into another gift or some other gifts of Mother Nature and the plant kingdom. Until then, take care and blessed be.
Bye-bye.
Whoa. One more thing before you go. Hopefully, you got a little bit more excited about essential oils in this episode, and you may be running off to go buy some more. Now, before you do that, I want to talk to you about quality of essential oils. Did you know that around the world there is no regulation or governance about the labeling of essential oils? Anyone can call an essential oil pure, natural, organic, and it doesn't have to be. In fact, 75% of what's sold as lavender around the world is not even from the lavender plant. This can be ineffective in an oil, but it can also mean that the oil can be harmful for you. Not only physically, but metaphysically, it's not going to work well either. So I went on a journey to find the best essential oils that I can trust, and I found doTERRA to be absolutely amazing. Not only do they test all their essential oils, but they have an independent third party test them at the end of their journey to make sure only in the bottle is what nature intended. However, if you want to get doTERRA essential oils, don't just jump on their website. Reach out to me and I'll give you a discount code so that you can get them at a cheaper price. But I don't just want you getting essential oils. I want you to learn how to use them each and every day for the body, mind, heart, and for the spirit as well. So when you become one of my customers, you get free access to a lifetime discount code. We have online portals where you can learn more, and we have giveaways and freebies and all different things like that. So I'd love you to join my wellness community. Simply click on the links below and let's get started with you using real essential oils as nature intended.